Welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be exploring something a bit different.
Okay.
A collection of reflections from a Thai source about coping with loss and change.
Loss and change. Okay.
Yeah. You know that feeling
Yeah.
when you realize something's value only after, like, it's gone?
Oh, yeah.
This source has kind of a unique take on that. They connect it to everything from, like, missing a meal to, believe it or not, ocean waves.
Wow. That's, I'm curious to hear how they make that connection.
Right. So they start by describing this feeling of heartbreak.
Okay.
And it's not just about romantic loss, but any experience of change and like the sense of emptiness it can bring.
Yeah.
They use words like adrift and unsure, which really capture that feeling of disorientation.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's that feeling of losing your bearings, like the rug's been pulled out from under you.
Exactly.
And it makes sense, I think, from a psychological perspective.
Yeah.
Humans, we crave like stability and familiarity.
Right.
And when those are disrupted, whether it's through a breakup or moving cities or even just like losing a beloved object,
Right.
we enter this period of grief and adjustment.
And this source really emphasizes that it doesn't have to be a big dramatic event.
Okay.
They even talk about how replacing material possessions, like trading in an old phone for a new model, can trigger these feelings.
Yeah, it's funny how attached we get to things sometimes without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Like that old phone might represent certain memories or comfort or even a sense of self.
Yeah.
So letting go, even of something that seems insignificant, can be surprisingly emotional.
Yeah.
It's like this source is prompting us to pause and like acknowledge those feelings instead of just rushing to replace what's gone.
Yeah. I think that's a really powerful point. It's easy to dismiss those feelings as silly or overblown, but they're real.
Right.
And they deserve to be acknowledged.
Absolutely.
You've ever experienced that, like with a piece of clothing you donated?
Oh, yeah, totally. I remember I gave away a whole box of books that I thought I would never read again.
Yeah.
And then months later, I had this like intense craving to revisit one of them. And of course it was gone.
Oh, no.
It felt like losing a part of myself.
Like you said, those objects can represent so much more than their physical form.
Exactly.
They hold memories and emotions and even parts of our identity.
And the loss of those things, however small, can trigger this like cascade of emotions that are worth paying attention to.
Right.
It's a chance to reflect on like what those objects meant to us and what we might be seeking to replace them with.
And speaking of replacement, the source also offers advice on what to do with those feelings of loss and emptiness.
Right.
They talk a lot about self-improvement, finding new things to engage with, almost like channeling that energy into positive action.
So they're saying, okay, you've experienced this loss. Now what are you going to do with the space it's created?
Exactly.
They offer this really vivid metaphor.
Yeah.
It's about generating internal energy through like appreciation and gratitude to fuel outward action.
Okay, so instead of dwelling on what's gone, we should focus on cultivating appreciation for what we have now.
Exactly.
That's an interesting approach.
It is.
I'm curious to hear more about how this connects to positive psychology.
Well, positive psychology emphasizes focusing on strengths and cultivating positive emotions.
Right.
And what this source is suggesting aligns perfectly with that. They're essentially saying that by practicing gratitude for what remains, we can create this wellspring of positive energy that fuels growth and action.
Right.
It's not about ignoring those negative feelings. It's about using them as a springboard for something new.
So it's not just about distraction.
Right.
It's about actively shifting our mindset.
Exactly. And that shift can be incredibly powerful. For example, studies have shown that engaging in acts of kindness or spending time in nature can actually boost mood and reduce stress.
Yeah.
And it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about building resilience and a more positive outlook on life.
That makes sense.
It's like those activities create this positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
We feel good, so we do more of those activities.
Right.
And that in turn makes us feel even better.
It's a beautiful cycle.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it all starts with that conscious choice to focus on the good, to practice gratitude, and to channel that energy into something positive and meaningful.
The source also specifically highlights this connection between physical movement and mental clarity.
Yeah.
Suggesting that even gentle activities like walking can help process emotions.
This speaks to the mind-body connection, which is so central to Eastern philosophy and modern psychology.
Right.
Physical activity, even something as simple as walking, can help regulate emotions and reduce stress.
So it's not just about getting your mind off things,
Right.
but actually shifting your internal state.
Exactly. Think of it this way. When we're feeling overwhelmed
Yeah.
or stuck in our heads, movement can be a way to literally shake things up,
Right.
create some space for new perspectives, and allow those emotions to flow more freely.
And that ties into the source's analogy about the ocean waves.
Oh, yeah.
They compare a life without challenges to a still ocean.
Okay.
Beautiful, maybe,
Yeah.
but ultimately lacking dynamism.
It's an image that I think really captures the essence of their message.
Yeah.
They seem to be suggesting that a life without challenges would be kind of stagnant,
Right.
predictable, perhaps even a bit boring.
Yeah.
It's the waves, the storms even, that bring about change and growth
Right.
and a sense of aliveness.
So maybe we shouldn't fear those storms so much.
Perhaps not.
Yeah.
The source seems to be suggesting that challenges are an integral part of a meaningful life.
Yeah.
They shape us, they teach us, and ultimately make us who we are.
It's like that saying, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's through navigating those rough waters that we develop resilience and strength and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
So embracing those challenges, even the painful ones, is key to living a truly fulfilling life.
That seems to be the message that the source is conveying, and it resonates deeply with me.
Okay.
After all, it's often in those moments of darkness and difficulty that we discover our truest selves and our greatest strengths.
And speaking of everyday challenges, the source offers this surprisingly relatable example.
Okay.
The annoyance of missing a meal.
Missing a meal, yeah.
Or eating at the wrong time.
Oh, I hate that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like something so small.
I love this example because it just highlights the universality of suffering.
Yeah.
Even seemingly minor inconveniences can cause us distress. And acknowledging that is important.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in comparing our problems to others and thinking, well, at least it's not that bad.
Right.
But the source is reminding us that everyone experiences discomfort and suffering in different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And minimizing our own experiences or comparing them to others just adds another layer of suffering. The key is to simply acknowledge those feelings without judgment.
So just saying to ourselves, hey, I'm not okay right now, and that's okay, can actually be a step towards feeling better.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about offering ourselves compassion and understanding, just as we would offer it to a friend.
Right.
That self-compassion is essential for navigating those inevitable rough patches in life.
It's about accepting that it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Exactly. And that acceptance can be incredibly freeing.
Right.
It allows us to move through those difficult emotions without resistance, which ultimately helps us heal and grow.
The source also talks about what to do when you feel like you have no one to talk to about those feelings.
Oh, yeah. That sense of isolation can be one of the most challenging aspects of loss and change.
Yeah.
It's natural to want to reach out to others for support, but sometimes that's just not possible or even desirable.
Right, and that's where the source's suggestion about talking to yourself comes in.
Yeah, it might sound strange at first.
Yeah.
But self-talk can actually be a powerful tool for processing emotions and gaining clarity. It's like having a built-in therapist available 24/7.
So how do we actually do this self-talk thing?
Well, think of it as having a conversation with, like, your wisest, most compassionate self.
Okay.
So you can ask yourself questions, explore different perspectives, and even challenge those negative thoughts.
Right.
The key is to approach it with curiosity and a willingness to listen to what your inner voice has to say.
So, for example, if I'm feeling overwhelmed by a recent change, I might ask myself, what's the one thing I can do right now to feel a little bit better?
Exactly.
Or what's the lesson I can learn from this experience?
But those are great examples of how to use self-talk constructively.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is you can do it anywhere, anytime.
Right.
You don't need to schedule an appointment.
Right.
Or wait for somebody else to be available.
That's so true. And the source also mentions finding a private space for these self-talk sessions.
I think that's an important point.
Okay.
While self-talk can be helpful in any situation, it's often more effective when we create a sense of privacy and safety, it allows us to be more vulnerable and honest with ourselves without fear of judgment or interruption.
It's like creating a sacred space for inner reflection.
Exactly.
And for those who might feel awkward talking out loud, even in private, the source also suggests journaling or mindfulness of alternative ways to explore those feelings.
Those are excellent alternatives.
Yeah.
Journaling allows us to externalize our thoughts and emotions, giving them form and structure. And mindfulness practices like meditation can help us cultivate a sense of presence and awareness, allowing us to observe our feelings without getting swept away by them.
So we've got a whole toolkit for processing those emotions. Self-talk, journaling, mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's empowering to know that we have these resources available to us whenever we need them.
It is, and it speaks to the source's overall message of self-reliance and resilience.
Yeah.
We have the power within ourselves to navigate these challenges, to find meaning in them, and to emerge from them stronger and wiser.
Now, earlier we touched on the source's advice about focusing on what we have now instead of dwelling on what's gone. They use this really interesting example of watching TV. When we have unlimited time to watch, it becomes boring. It's only when we're busy that those few minutes become precious.
That's such a clever way to illustrate the concept of scarcity and value. Our minds tend to focus on what's missing, what we don't have. And that can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction or longing. But when something becomes scarce, even something as simple as time to watch TV, we suddenly appreciate it more.
It's like that saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. But the source seems to be encouraging us to flip that script. To appreciate what we have before it's gone.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful. Instead of waiting for something to be taken away from us to realize its value, we can actively cultivate gratitude for what we have in this moment.
So how do we actually do that?
Well, it starts with awareness. Simply noticing and acknowledging the good things in our lives. Even the small, seemingly insignificant ones. Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee in the morning or a beautiful sunset or a heartfelt conversation with a loved one.
Those are good.
These moments of joy and appreciation are all around us if we take the time to notice them.
It's like training our minds to focus on the positive instead of getting caught up in the negative.
Exactly. And with practice, that shift in focus can become more and more natural. It's like building a muscle of gratitude that gets stronger with each repetition.
And this ties back to the source's analogy of the ocean. They seem to be suggesting that those challenges, those storms we were talking about earlier, are actually what make life interesting and meaningful.
It's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? We often strive for a life of ease and comfort. But it's those moments of adversity, those times when we're pushed to our limits that truly shape us and allow us to grow.
It's like those storms are what create the depth and dynamism that make the ocean so awe-inspiring.
Precisely. A still ocean might be peaceful and serene, but it's the waves, the currents, the storms that give it character and beauty. And it's the same with life. It's those challenges, those moments of turbulence that make us who we are.
It's like they're saying that those difficult experiences, those moments of loss and change are not something to be feared or avoided, but rather embraced as opportunities for growth and transformation.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message, especially in a world that often encourages us to seek comfort and avoid discomfort at all costs. The source seems to be suggesting that true fulfillment comes from leaning into those challenges, from learning and growing from them, and from allowing them to shape us into the people we're meant to be.
And earlier we talked about the importance of self-compassion, especially during times of change. The source also emphasizes the need to avoid comparing our experiences to others.
Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say. And it's especially harmful when we're going through a difficult time. It's so easy to get caught up in the highlight reels that people present on social media and feel like we're falling short.
It's like we're constantly comparing our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
Exactly. And that's a recipe for feeling inadequate and unhappy. This source is reminding us that everyone's journey is unique. And that we're all facing our own internal battles that others may know nothing about.
They use that simple example of missing a meal to illustrate this point. Something so small can cause someone significant distress. And it's a reminder that we can't always judge the depth of someone's suffering by outward appearances.
And a humbling thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
It encourages us to be more compassionate and understanding, both towards ourselves and others. We never truly know what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
So offering kindness and support rather than judgment or comparison is always the best approach.
It's like that saying, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And that kindness, that recognition of shared humanity can be a powerful antidote to these isolation and despair that often accompany loss and change.
Yeah.
Knowing that we're not alone, that others have walked this path before us, and that we're all in this together can make even the toughest challenges feel a little bit easier to bear.
So we've talked about the importance of self-compassion, avoiding comparison, and the idea that challenges can actually be opportunities for growth.
Right.
It's a lot to digest.
It is, but it's all interconnected, isn't it?
It is.
It's about shifting our perspective on loss and change, recognizing our own resilience, and cultivating a sense of gratitude and compassion for ourselves and others.
It's like the Source is offering us a roadmap for navigating the inevitable ups and downs of life.
Yeah.
With more grace, wisdom, and resilience.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. It's like they've given us this whole new lens through which to view those difficult experiences.
And what's beautiful is that it's not about denying the pain or pretending that like everything is always rosy.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the full spectrum of human experience, the joy and the sorrow, the ease and the struggle, and finding ways to navigate it all with more awareness and compassion.
It's about embracing the whole messy, beautiful journey of life.
Exactly. And realizing that it's in those messy, unpredictable moments that we often discover our greatest strengths and learn our most valuable lessons.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these insightful reflections, is there one key takeaway you hope our listener will carry with them?
I think the most important takeaway is that loss and change are inevitable parts of life.
Yeah.
They're not something to be feared or avoided, but rather embraced as opportunities for growth and self-discovery.
And a deepening appreciation for the preciousness of life.
It's like they're saying that those moments of transition, even the painful ones, can actually be catalysts for something new and beautiful to emerge.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Right.
We all go through these challenges, and within each of us lies the strength and resilience to navigate them. Lean into your support systems. Practice self-compassion, and never underestimate the power of the human spirit to heal and grow.
And as you move forward on your own journey, we want to leave you with this thought-provoking question from the Source. How might the act of appreciating what we have now, even the mundane things, change our experience of loss in the future?
It's a powerful question.
It is.
It invites us to reflect on our relationship with the present moment. By cultivating gratitude for what we have today, we not only enrich our lives in the present, but we also prepare ourselves to face future challenges with a greater sense of perspective and peace.
It's like we're building up a reservoir of appreciation that we can draw upon when those inevitable storms come our way.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the complexities of loss and change.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as we did.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring the world with curiosity, compassion, and an open heart.